Rivalry weekend, guys, did not disappoint. And it started way back on Thursday, Thanksgiving night. We'll dive into it, guys, starting with that game. Ole Miss taking down Mississippi State by a final score of 17-7 a game. The only thing I'm mad about here is that I took Ole Miss minus 11. The spread was at minus 9.5 at one point. So, goes to show you got to get in when the number's good. If you don't, you're going to pay for it. Either way, though, nice win for Ole Miss. I mean, give Mississippi State defensively, guys. I thought there was a lot of fight there. Give them credit. Jackson Dart, 14 for 26, 96 yards. Just 96 yards. Had a touchdown pass on the night. Will Rogers, who is now into the transfer portal, certainly one of the hot targets out in the portal, 25 of 39 in his final game in a Bulldogs uniform, 207, no touchdowns, no picks. The running game was the big thing for Ole Miss that separated itself. Quinshon Judkins, 28 for 119. But how about Ole Miss, man? And Lane Kiffin. And I think Rebel fans really, truly need to take a moment to appreciate what Lane Kiffin's doing right now. Like, do not let the good times pass you by and you not realize that you're in the good times. What did they say in The Office? How is there, or is there a way to know that you're in the good times before the good times are gone, type of thing? Whatever the quote is, I'm probably butchering it. But like Ole Miss, this is the golden era, I feel like, of Ole Miss football. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm an Ole Miss history buff, whatever. I know Ole Miss has had success, but like 10 wins for the Ole Miss program right now. Like, in a great spot, in a great position. Lane Kiffin, I think, is the perfect fit for that job. You got Jackson Dart coming back next year. Really good times are on the horizon for Ole Miss football. And, the Egg Bowl, again, the intensity, the energy, the cowbells. Ole Miss comes out of there. They survive. There was a lot of surviving and advancing this past weekend. Certainly, Ole Miss did that, 17-7 winners. We moved to the Friday game, guys. The battle of the state line, what have you. Mizzou takes down Arkansas, 48-14. And I tell you, I thought maybe that Sam Pittman, the boost of, hey, Sam Pittman's our guy. He's coming back next year. You really thought that maybe that was going to be the thing that gave Arkansas some sort of boost, made that football team, right, play at another level. And I tell you, man, the performances by Arkansas at home, that's what's most inexcusable. I mean, they got their brains beat in their last two SEC games in Fayetteville. And on the Missouri side, guys, I feel like Mizzou went on a respect tour this year where it's like South Carolina fans, Arkansas fans, whoever else, fan bases that over the summer said, man, it's like every year our program loses to this team who's I swear they're not better than us. Like, you got to come to grips with the fact that Mizzou's better than you right now. Like, you just have to. And so, I mean, Eli Drinkwitz, guys, I mentioned many times, should be SEC Coach of the Year. An incredible performance. I mean, that was pure domination from the jump. And it's interesting now how just a week, just over a week after it was announced Sam Pittman will be back next year, the questions in Fayetteville, man. I mean, the questions in Fayetteville, a relentless amount of questions to be answered. And for Missouri, a really nice bowl game will await. Guys, to the Saturday action. And I got a lot of flack for this game, folks. I picked Kentucky to beat Louisville. Call my shot. Kentucky gets the W over the Louisville Cardinal. The second best team in the ACC. The, 7th, 8th, 9th best team in the SEC. Takes them down. Kentucky finally, who I feel like finally played to their potential. They beat Louisville 38-31. What a game this was, man. Back and forth. And again, this truly, when we talk about strength of the SEC and what makes the SEC so good, this is it. This is it, guys. The depth of the conference is just like unlike anything you're going to see anywhere else. Devin Leary was good in this game, 12 of 22, 206, 3 touchdowns, a pick, though, in the game. Ray Davis, phenomenal, guys. 14 for 76, had a touchdown. He took over that game late. The receiving core of Kentucky doing some nice things. How about Ray Davis in the receiving game as well, guys? He really, truly was the MVP of this game. 4 for 51 and 2 touchdowns. And again, a huge boost after a disappointing season, right? After a disappointing season, Kentucky getting their 7th win, going 7-5. And listen, I know it wasn't the season that Cats fans want, but when you think about, hey, what's our ceiling? What's our floor? The fact that you had an abysmal season and went 7-5 could be much worse. Look down the road in Columbia, right? So, really good win by Kentucky. And again, guys, I just felt like at some point Kentucky was going to pop. They did that and arguably the most important game for them, taking down the Louisville Cardinal. Moving into Baton Rouge, LSU. They escaped that porous defense one last time. 42-30. The Tigers get the win. Nice job again. Jaden Daniels solidifying his Heisman stance and his Heisman status, and he absolutely should be hoisting the trophy. Give credit to Texas A&M for fighting down the stretch, man. I mean, a season in which was lost. Jimbo Fisher gets fired, of course, and I thought they gave LSU everything they wanted and then some, but LSU overcame that bad defense one more time. Brian Kelly's got some really interesting decisions upcoming. Will be interesting to see what direction LSU goes. Do they go after Zach Arnett, somebody else at their DC? But when you got a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, receivers like Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, and a running back like Logan Diggs, and that offensive line they've got, you're in a good spot. So LSU getting their 9th win of the season in that ball game. To the Plains we go, guys. The Iron Bowl. It just never fails to disappoint, man. Where does this Iron Bowl rank? It's got to be one of the best. I mean, it's one of the best Iron Bowls, guys, we have seen in recent memory for sure. It's right up there with the Kick Six. I know our good friend Chris Marler was going crazy. I mean, that play on 4th and 31, like 2nd and 26, it'll be talked about. Hey, remember 4th and 31? Remember 4th and 31 in the Iron Bowl? And I mean, it's the play call to rush to. Guys, I heard this from somebody one time and it stuck with me. Prevent defense prevents you from winning. And that's what you saw, man. You give Jalen Milroe all day long. Like, in theory, it sounds good. All right, we're going to rush to, everybody else go to the end zone. In theory, it sounds good. But when you give a quarterback 6 or 7 seconds, right? 6 or 7 seconds to scan the field, give a receiver an opportunity to make a play, the great athletes at Alabama to kind of at least get in a one-on-one scenario or get some space. That's going to be a play call defensively that haunts that Auburn coaching staff for a long, long time. On the positive, Auburn going toe-to-toe with Bama. It's going to be sooner rather than later that Hugh Freeze has Auburn as a serious force in the SEC. And on the Bama side, guys, hey, survive in advance, man. Survive in advance. I mean, you take them where you can get them. I was sitting there fully ready. I was like, you know what? Because at first I was like, all right, this is setting up for heartbreak. Auburn is 100% getting their hearts broken. Then you have the snap, the errant snap, and Alabama is still able to overcome it. And was it lucky? Hell yeah, it was lucky, man. There was some luck involved, but great teams create their own luck, man. And when they get opportunities to be lucky, they take advantage of it. So an insane Iron Bowl. What a game. And 4th and 31. That's the theme. Leaving that game, and that's going to be talked about for years to come. Guys, to Knoxville, Tennessee takes down Vandy. Ho-hum, 48-24, the final. I think Tennessee just kind of was what they were this year, guys. An 8-4 football team. Joe Milton was okay. Nico gets in that game late. And for Vandy, 2-10. Interesting offseason upcoming in Nashville. How about Florida State, guys? They take down Florida 24-15. I tell you, Billy Napier, they have I don't care what the schedule says next year. They have this type of season next year. Florida misses a bowl game next year. Billy Napier is gone. He's not going to get longer than 3 years, man. If they're not getting it going by year 3, he's gone. Give Florida State a lot of credit, man. Give them so much credit for late in that ball game, finding a way. I am a believer that if Florida State, if they beat Louisville, they go undefeated, they absolutely should be in the college football playoff. Is it the same team without Jordan Travis? No. but I thought they did a great job of navigating this football game, surviving in the swamp, surviving advance, right? Rivalry weekend. Great job by FSU. And again, an offseason filled with question marks for the Florida Gators after receiving a season in which, guys, and it was really a microcosm of their season, undisciplined, making silly mistakes, self-inflicted wounds. It's not going to fly in Gainesville for much longer. And finally, guys, Georgia in a weird game, 31-23, they take down Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech gave Georgia all they wanted, but Chris Doering mentioned it. All of the guys that sat in this ball game, it almost felt like Georgia was like, okay, we want to win the rivalry. We know we're better than Tech. Let's save our guys. Like the amount of inactives that did not play. I don't look too deeply into this, guys. I mean, I think Georgia, I don't think you look at it and say, man, is Georgia, is there something wrong heading into the SEC title? I don't see that at all. I don't see that at all, guys. Rivalry weekends, unlike any other weekend, survive in advance. It provides us with more drama than any other college football weekend. And certainly that was the case yet again as the 2023 season comes to an end and we turn our attention to the SEC title and bowl season just ahead.